Verizon has launched new versions of their unlimited smartphone plans in celebration of their upcoming C-band deployment. Hi there, I'm Cherie with the Mobile Internet Resource Center. And last year, both AT&T and T-Mobile rolled out new versions of their consumer postpaid unlimited smartphone plans that included 40 gigabytes of high-speed mobile hotspot use. We had expected Verizon to follow suit with a similar sort of upgrade earlier in the year, but they didn't. So then we figured, well, it might be coming with their new 5G C-band rollout, which is supposed to have rolled out today. And sure enough, they went ahead and rolled out the new plans today, even though the C-band deployment has been delayed for 2 weeks due to an FAA and FCC sort of thing going on about those airways. Now, the C-band spectrum is the new 5G spectrum that is going to be their mid-band. This is what the sweet spot is for 5G for a lot of the carriers, that combines getting the high speeds with a lot of coverage. And this is going to become important as we go into a 5G future with all of the carriers. Verizon went all in early this year and went and spent billions of dollars to buy C-band spectrum from the FCC to have this rollout. And this is what is going to be essential for them to compete with T-Mobile, who is already far ahead on their 5G deployment, especially with their mid-band, which they acquired when they bought Sprint with their Band 41 coverage. So what this means is, coming in the future, AT&T and Verizon will both have a lot more 5G coverage that will be more usable to everyone. Right now, Verizon is really focused on that mmWave, that very short-range, high, fast spectrum. With C-band, you're going to start to see a lot more 5G deployment that is actually better than their 4G coverage and what their nationwide is right now. It's very important with Verizon to also understand that they treat their different flavors of 5G differently. They have two flavors: Ultra Wideband, which they designate as UW now, and also their nationwide, or NW. Their nationwide is basically their low band spectrum that they are just reusing LTE spectrum for. It's really not much better than LTE coverage and performance right now. Their ultra wideband, their UW, is going to be the combination of their mmWave and their mid-band C-band spectrum. So they are going to be treated the same under these new plans. That's a very important distinction to make on these new plans and understanding if they are right for you. Now, the new plans, they're keeping pretty much the same names as they have had for the last few years, which is Get More, Do More, Play More, and Start, except for they put 5G in front of all of them. So there are now 3 versions of these plans out there, an iteration that came out in 2019, 2020, and now 2022. On these new plans, they're very, very similar, except for the major differences are on mobile hotspot data. On the Get More plan, which is the premium plan that starts at $90 per line for a single line of service, you now get 50 gigabytes of high-speed mobile hotspot use before you are throttled down. It used to be 30 gigabytes. On the Do More and Play More, you now get 25 gigabytes of high-speed mobile hotspot use. It used to be 15. And Start stays the same. You don't get any mobile hotspot use on that plan at all, and that one is at $70 per month. So the most interesting ones to our audience are those Do More and Play More, as well as Get More. So pay attention to those plans. Now, once you exceed your cap, this is where things get interesting. When you are on their nationwide 5G coverage or 4G coverage, so the low band, longer range coverage bands, you will be throttled down to 600 kilobits per second once you reach your threshold for mobile hotspot use. But if you are in one of their ultra wideband areas, the UW areas, and that's going to include that new C-band spectrum coming up, you will only be throttled down to 3 megabit per second. Now, 3 megabit per second isn't 5G speeds. It's more like 4G speeds, I guess, in old terms. It's still quite usable. So that mobile hotspot cap, that 50 gigabytes, you're going to get at full speed, but you're still going to get very usable speeds at 3 megabit per second on mobile hotspot use when you are in one of those ultra wideband areas. So that is actually a good move. But keep in mind, if you have one of their prior versions of the Get More, Play More, Do More plans, the terms on that were, when you were in an ultra wideband area, you got unlimited hotspot at full speed. So that is a change in the terms of service where you will now be throttled down to 3 megabit per second. Now, other changes to these plans come with the priority data. Used to be on Get More, you got 50 gigabytes of priority data before your data was deprioritized and could be slower when on a congested area. It is now unlimited priority data, so no more network management. That is in line with the other carriers. And when you are on Get More and Play More, it remains at 50 gigabytes as well. Now, also with video streaming, your resolution when you are in a UW area, you default to 720p resolution, but you can opt into full 4K video resolution. This is for on-device usage. And when you are in a nationwide area, you will be able to have 480p is your default, and it will go up to 720p if you opt into it. Another interesting new perk with these plans comes around Travel Pass. Now, this is their option for international roaming, where you get half a gigabyte per day of high-speed use when you are traveling internationally. It used to be you had to pay $10 per day to enable that. Well, you still do, but now with the Get More and Do More plans, you get one free Travel Pass per month. And if you don't use them, they can stack up. So you can bank up to 12 at a time if you don't use them, which can make international travel a lot more interesting and cheaper to do, because you basically are getting free roaming with those travel passes for one day at a time. Just remember, it is capped at half a gigabyte of usage per day at high speed. Now, with mobile hotspot devices, routers, and tablets, earlier last year in the summer, Verizon rolled out new plans giving you options up to 150 gigabytes of usage per month on any of these data-only devices. There have been no changes to that with these plans. You can still add them on. You still get a discount on those if you want to add on a hotspot device or router or a tablet. You can go look at our past videos and articles on those options if those are of interest to you. And there are some changes with their business and home internet 5G plans. Those are all fixed location only plans. You cannot move them. So we do not consider those appropriate for nomads. But if you are a business customer, they do have LTE versions of these plans that are mobile friendly and can be used in routers and hotspots. Those give you up to 300 gigabytes at speed tier caps starting at 10 megabit per second for as low as $69 per month. So if you're a business, that might be worthwhile looking into as far as for a hotspot plan. But again, no changes relating to mobile plans as far as internet options go. Now, should you upgrade or not? Well, first of all, if you have the version of these plans from Verizon that were launched in August of 2020. These are what are also referred to as the mix and match plans, the ones where you can start to combine different versions of the plan on your personal account with different members of your family. You will be automatically upgraded to these new plans within 2 billing cycles. You should already start getting notifications on that. If you log into your My Verizon, you will see that on there. Overall, you're getting more for the same price, except for keeping in mind that mobile hotspot cap. When you are in a UW area, you will now be capped at 3 megabit per second once you exceed the 50 gigabytes of data usage. That's going to be a downside because you're not going to get that unlimited hotspot when you're in a UW area. And as C-band rolls out, that's going to become more important because there's going to be more coverage that is considered ultra wideband. Now, we don't have confirmation yet if you had the version of these plans that came out in 2019. These were prior to the mix and match version. We haven't seen confirmation one way or another if they are forcing upgrades on those or not. If they don't have that on your plan yet, you're not getting notification. We do recommend keeping that if mobile hotspot is important to you, because when you are in a UW area, you will continue to get unlimited hotspot data at full speed on those areas. You won't have that throttling enforced. So those could be worth holding on to. For any other older plans that you might have with Verizon, you'll need to look at your terms of service and if it's worth upgrading or not. And you should be able to upgrade within the My Verizon app if you want, or in a store. Now, when looking at all of the other carriers and the options they have, they're all pretty much on par now, with Verizon just offering 50 gigabytes versus 40 gigabytes on AT&T and T-Mobile as far as high-speed mobile hotspot cap. And the important note with Verizon, they are the only one that gives you 3 megabit per second when you are in a ultra wideband area. That is an important perk to keep in mind with Verizon's network when you talk about Hotspot off of your smartphone. Now, if you are a business eligible customer and you can get a business account with any of the carriers, it is definitely worthwhile looking at their business plans instead. They are generally priced very similarly, but they give you 100 gigabytes of high-speed mobile hotspot use before any throttling. So that is definitely an advantage if you're a business. Look into those options. Otherwise, all the carriers are now kind of back on par. We might see some adjustments for AT&T and T-Mobile in the future. They might try to adjust their plans to meet that newer, higher mobile hotspot cap that Verizon is now offering. You know, the carriers are always competing. Interesting times ahead as we move into a C-band world once it is deployed and then we have this mid-range 5G era. So stay tuned. We will probably have some 5G updates coming up on how to look towards the future and how it plays into your mobile internet arsenal. Thanks for tuning in. Hope this information was useful, and stay connected in 2022. These videos are brought to you by our premium members, our mobile internet aficionados. They make it possible for us to track this news and create these videos. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, or better yet, consider becoming a member yourself.